Well, hello again. Another yes or no question for you to consider. This one is facial recognition okay? Well, this is a big subject. The whole science and technology of biometrics, where we make machine readings of different aspects of your body to identify you, principally, uh, has grown by leaps and bounds in just the last few years. Uh, of course, we have had biometrics in one form or another for many decades, even a century. Fingerprint identification is a form of biometrics. And for many years, we've had databases to enable uh, the identification of a person from their fingerprint, and they do it pretty quickly. An invaluable aid for crime fighting. Well, biometrics has expanded far beyond fingerprints. We now have the ability to read veins in the fingers. We can read irises in the eye, and of course the structure of the face, which is what we call uh, facial recognition. The uh, use of this is becoming more and more widespread, especially in law enforcement. But of course, the use of biometrics is becoming more and more common for everyone. You can protect the security of your phone with a fingerprint or even facial recognition. They're used to provide access and entry into buildings, into places that need to be secure. For some years, they had iris identification at Heathrow and Gatwick, which my wife used enthusiastically for quite a few years before they stopped it. You didn't have to get into any queues for passport control. You just went into a little gate. It looked at your iris and your face, and the gate opened, and that was the end of it. So it's a technology whose time has come. Time has come, and it is being more and more widely used, and in particular with facial integration. So, for example, if there is a demonstration, as there have been many in the Black Lives Matter movement, where the crowds in the demonstration become a mob, get out of hand, destruction takes place. Well, CCTV cameras can gather images of people misbehaving. Police on hand, many of them wear video cameras on their persons, and so the images of people destroying something, robbing a store, can be processed through the database, matched up with pictures, people identified, arrests made, and so forth. So that's the way it works, and unsurprisingly, it is controversial. So let's find out what some of the arguments are. The yes arguments are based principally around the need to be faster and more efficient at catching lawbreakers. The technology is improving all the time. The databases in which people's identity are stored, along with their facial features, are expanding all the time, and many police forces in particular are using the technology to do what I described in the introduction. The One of the pioneers is the Los Angeles Police Department, and they use it with relish. In San Francisco, which is culturally quite a different place, they've outlawed it. As you can see, it's not all universally accepted benefit. Here in the UK, it's quite controversial. It's being used by the Metropolitan Police in London, but there are places where they have a lot of difficulty with it. A second benefit is that not only can you identify people who have committed a crime and have misbehaved on camera. You can use it to spot fugitives, terrorists, people on the run, people who have done something really bad and are wanted by the police, people for whom perhaps an arrest warrant is indicated. The cameras at pinch points in the city and at entrances to airports and so forth are often used successfully to catch fugitives and to people who have evil intentions. And encouragingly, the accuracy with which these facial recognition technologies operate is increasing dramatically. Much of the earlier objection to them was based upon mediocre accuracy and results. It's getting better and better all the time, and the size of the databases is increasing all the time. There is a company, a startup company in New York, that started up only 3 years ago, called Clearview AI, run by a chap with a sort of unpronounceable foreign name of some sort, that is selling its technology to police forces around the world and to other similar organizations, governmental organizations usually. And they glean pictures and information from social media sites, from Facebook, Instagram, and so forth, and allegedly have 3 billion photos on their database. So it is just a fantastically expanding phenomenon, and one that offers really huge benefit to law enforcement. Okay, well, as you can imagine, there are some objections, so let's go through some of them. Who are the people that say, no, it's not okay? The biggest objection, of course, is that it's a fundamental intrusion on people's privacy. People do have a right to protect their identities, to keep themselves away from prying eyes. There's always been a kind of paranoia about a 1984 kind of situation where Big Brother is watching you and wanting to make sure that you don't do anything that's not favorable politically. And this kind of technology certainly facilitates that kind of sinister endeavor. Whether or not it's actually taking place is not necessarily the only objection, but that it could. Okay, secondly, another objection is that it's not necessarily accurate, and therefore people could be wrongly accused, wrongly identified, even if subsequently checked out and found not to have been the person that they're trying to identify. It's humiliating, embarrassing, distressing, something you really wouldn't want to have happen to yourself. So in sum, for the no side, it's that innocent people may get caught up in the pursuit of criminals, and in any case, their privacy is being hugely and increasingly intruded upon and even taken away from them. So that's the argument. Well, what do I think about all of this? My take is that biometrics of all kinds, including facial recognition, are a juggernaut of technical momentum and progress. It's not going to go away. It's only going to become more and more intense. And so the job really of democratic countries is to decide how much they're going to allow to the authorities to use, how many barriers are going to be put in the way of it, what kind of controls will be imposed, and even philosophically, how much do we really want to go in this direction? That's for democracies through their established orders to decide upon. In countries like China, they don't much care. They just use it basically to keep track of people, not only criminals, but people who may not even be favorably disposed toward the governing regime, and that's a bit more sinister and does, as I've mentioned before, sound a little bit like a dystopic novel like 1984 or some of the films we see on Netflix. Well, in sum, my take is, of course, we need the controls, but we would be fools not to take full advantage of this fantastic technology to make our world a safer place. Okay, well, as usual, I hope I haven't upset too many people with this, but I do hope you'll, if you liked it, give me a like, comment, please, below, and subscribe. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye, and see you at the next one.